Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Thursday, July 24th. Somehow, July's almost over already.
We had the realization today that next week is the last week of the year that we will not be doing daily morning record and release. It's coming, Foot Clan. We are just minutes away from August.
Yeah, we're going to be doing shows every day.
It's a good thing. It's a fun thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It's starting on August 1st, which is a Friday.
Weird.
So we'll have a show on August 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And then forever. Or so
until
so
the end
seems.
of time.
It's super exciting for those following along at home. The channel's been renamed. Mike is constantly
People didn't know how to use the channel, so I had to rename the channel.
A lot of people out there have already asked for an invite into the Camp Highlights channel, which is now called the Camp Highlights and Hype Train channel.
Yes.
Which is so many characters that I've thought about renaming it many times, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, There's that hype train.
Yeah, because we needed.
I miss our old hype train.
Well,
the very dangerous,
the train that sounded like you were about to get T-boned while you're driving, and everyone complained about it. But
stop. Train
something
scans.
just fell off your desk.
Power line fell off the
your
toilet,
desk, Mike. But no, I mean the
if I had a nickel for every time that's happened.
I'm looking at this channel, and it's Jackson Dart's first pick 6.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins first up.
Yeah. This is good stuff,
we've
man.
got Kyle Pitts walking to camp.
Yeah, but the walk had a lot of swag to it, so it was fun.
is that what we call that?
We've got T-Mac,
whatever, man.
Tataroa McMillan tweet, and then I watched that video, and I'm like,
I think it was just him like shuffling around.
He's just barely in the view.
Like I said, not everyone understands how to use the channel.
We've got Mike sharing the first play of 7-on-7 for the Jets was a little throwing by the quarterback and catching by the receiver, Garrett Wilson.
And it was in slow motion.
Yeah. This is you know how to use the channel.
The reporters,
Anthony Richardson overthrowing his receivers already.
The reporters on the Garrett Wilson, they said that would have been a touchdown.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Caleb Williams looking very uncomfortable in training camp so far. He threw 3 picks.
He's real itchy.
Threw 3 picks with his brand new offense. And we've even got old, busted, former NFL cornerbacks like Quentin Jammer jumping into the camp hype time of year. And Ladd McConkey had a nice little one-on-one drill, catching a pass. Quentin Jammer running in and saying, I would not have let that happen.
I gotta take a little umbrage with your shuffling around comment on Tet McMillan.
Okay.
You guys clearly did not watch that whole video.
I guess not.
Was there something else that happened? Because
Yes.
it was real boring.
No,
What did he do?
He's not the first guy. He's the second guy. He's doing this drill, and a coach walks in his way.
Oh, and he catches it with
And
one hand.
he Velcro catches
Okay,
that ball.
Jason, you're not helping the camp hype.
Yeah, baby.
You're not helping the camp hype.
Oh, yeah. The video was way too long for that.
I agree. I
didn't get to
not
see
the
that
originator
part.
of
That
the-
part was cool.
Yeah,
So-
that's the
Okay,
camp
new
hype.
rule, Jason. You got to timestamp things for me, too.
All right.
So we've reached the inevitable exaggeratory phase of fantasy football, which is
It's part of my favorite
it's
time.
really the best time.
Yeah.
Every single one of you out there undefeated on the season in fantasy football, right? All of our picks could be perfect.
Oh,
All of our rankings
our takes are so good.
very likely perfectly accurate. But as the news comes in, some of it is very relevant, and some of it is moving around some UDK rankings. Things more depth chart oriented, right? We were talking today about Mr. Besh in Las Vegas, Mike, and
Yep.
Thornton, and the way things may look in year one for Mr. Jack Besh.
Yeah, the Raiders.
It's not a great opportunity for him potentially.
I mean, we're in very early stages, but the early reports saying like, hey, look, Jacoby and Thornton, they seem like the two outside wide receivers, and that Besh is actually competing with Trey Tucker for a starting job. So that's a camp battle that we will be keeping our eyes on. But then, it's wild. If Besh is the second-round pick, and Thornton the fourth?
I believe fourth, yeah.
And so to have that already swapped is interesting.
Jason lost his mind over a Trey Harris catch yesterday as well. So we'll see what.
Yeah, but two of them against rookie cornerbacks in one-on-one drills. Yeah,
all priors confirmed.
That's all I need.
So it is. It's really exciting. I saw Hard Knocks starts up on August 5th, so that's not far away. Buffalo will be the team covered there. It's an exciting time of year. That's why we're going to 5 days a week. There's just so much to talk about. And you can secure the Ultimate Draft Kit at ultimatedraftkit.com. That is all of our rankings, all of our sleepers, breakouts, busts, and values that we've all agreed upon. We'll have some more episodes in August with our individual picks in those categories. And, the My Guys episode is coming up, fantasy MVP episodes. There's a lot on the table for August. So thank you so much for supporting the show. If you watch it, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. Make sure you subscribe over there. Click the bell every Sunday morning. Most often it's Mike going live with Sunday Live pre-NFL coverage of the fantasy football latest news.
Yeah, it's making sure you're all caught up
Start
on
sit
everything.
Decisions. So that's a great way to do it. And then if you're on Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening, click that follow button. Drop us a review. That would be an awesome way to support the Deucers, is what I'm saying. The Deucers over there, they feed on the reviews.
Yeah, they like them. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah. So there you go. Let's jump right into some more news.
News and notes from around the league.
I should have said let's jump into some actual news, right? The other stuff.
Yeah.
That's camp highlights and hype. But here's some good news. Malik Neighbor is practicing fully in training camp. So
Okay, we like that.
The lingering toe injury that goes way back to LSU that took some time from him last year, he's practicing.
Yeah. Did you guys see the camp highlight video of
I
him
sure did.
getting that touchdown?
Yep.
From Mr. Russ, or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh says he doesn't know when Najee Harris will be back for training camp.
This one is actionable and a big piece of news because the fantasy community is very excited for Omarion Hampton, a first-round running back. First-round running backs are, generally speaking, fantasy gold. And it was like, well, if Najee might be in the way for a bit, how long will he be in the way? I mean, they're being drafted like Hampton is going to be the starter sooner than later. I think, Hampton's in front of him by a few rounds, I believe. But the fact that Najee might not do training camp,
I mean, if
that
he
is
misses
that's a
camp-
huge deal.
If he misses camp, all of a sudden it feels like he's not even – because he's new to this team.
Right.
The whole, he's the starter to start the season. He's the veteran. He's the proven NFL player.
It would have been different if it happened in Pittsburgh where he
Correct.
had been.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is now it's come week one, who's the vet for the Chargers? Because Hampton has more time there, potentially. So we definitely need to monitor that.
Yeah, 'cause Hampton's ADP will take a rocket ship to the moon.
You guys tell me whether I need to hit the panic alarm on this piece of news we got yesterday. Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin underwent a second ankle procedure in the spring. He's starting on the PUP.
Yeah, that you should hit the panic alarm. Yes. Black us out.
That was not more of a panic alarm. That was like a power outage.
Did
On
I
the
do
video
something
side,
wrong there,
yeah.
Al?
No, you didn't.
Okay. All right.
Somebody back here did, though.
It was.
I'm going to guess it's not a falcon or an owl.
Yeah.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
He looked so those that are listening at home, the panic alarm now comes with some special effects in the studio.
The lights go out.
And the lights normally flash like a panic alarm. And the second that the lights just turn off, I see Al turn to the right.
Yeah, oh yeah, he just gave
a slow
gave Papa
glance
Johnson
to the
a
right.
stare down.
So
What'd
I don't
you
know if
do?
anybody's taking responsibility for that, but I'm hitting
I
it
know.
again.
I know who's not going to take responsibility.
Oh, yeah. It happened
It's
again.
working real good.
Perfect.
Perfect.
But yet it is very troubling. I mean, there was the. Did you guys see the that we went Zapruder film on the? There was a photo of Godwin in a jersey, and it was like one of those ankles is.
Here's what
looks a bit puffier than the other
help
one.
me out here. Explain this to me, because if he had not been paid, let's just pretend this scenario was Chris Godwin actually had another year left on his former deal,
Right.
and he had not been paid, we would not have been in on Godwin for the year at
Correct.
all. At all. Not with
Correct.
McMillan playing well, with the Egbuka draft pick, with any of that stuff going on.
It would be. I wouldn't say we would be in, but it would be very, very hesitant.
I think I'll go as far to say I would have been out.
I would have been out.
Okay.
Because
I-
we've been here. He's
Yeah.
had an injury. It was a major injury. We saw him leave the field. Significant. I think what happened was they paid him, and we did the math equation. It's money equals he's good.
Yeah, I mean
'Cause
they
he's
are
older.
the ones with the information on the injury, on the timeline, on the surgery, on the recovery, and they came out and they paid him a lot of money. That gave us confidence that they are not worried about the injury, the recovery timeline, any of that. And they very well might not be, from the standpoint of they're not playing the same game we're playing. We have to draft a guy
Right.
and have him be ready week one. They're trying to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
So by the time they get to the playoffs, maybe he's good. Long term, this is more than a 1-year contract. Maybe he's good. But for fantasy football purposes, Chris Godwin is someone that I would not be drafting him personally, certainly not where he's being drafted. I don't even know if
I mean, he was off my board before this news, and
Yeah.
now he's very off my board. And I on our NFC South show, I was so close to making some comments around that were probably too hyperbolic and extreme about, like Mike brought up Egbuka and how interesting that selection is, right?
I am so in.
But I almost made the comment, like, what we see right now with our eyes on that team is Evans and Godwin. But what might be the reality for this team genuinely by the end of the year could be Egbuka and McMillan.
Yeah.
Right.
Like both,
Yes,
not just one.
McMillan
McMillan's not a bad player. He had 461 yards as a rookie and caught 8 touchdowns from Baker. And yet the elder statesmen, their time might be ending sooner than you think. And the draft pick of Egbuka maybe has more of a backdrop now. Maybe that's even more of a, we knew Godwin wasn't going to be around.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Jalen McMillan. He was a rookie wide receiver last year. He is the perfect example of someone that, let's say you had a bad fantasy year last year and you start checking out towards the end of the season. You might not realize how electric he was the last 5 weeks of the year because he really didn't do much for the majority of his rookie season. Chris Godwin was everything. Mike Evans was there. And then the last 5 weeks of the season, I mean, he put up over 1,000 yards in the last 5 weeks. So
He
would have paced over yes, he would have paced
He had
over
1,000 yards over a 5-week span.
You were really breaking news.
He's
I
the
was like,
greatest player of all time.
he would have been on pace for 1,074 yards and 23 touchdowns because they all came that.
Egbuka and McMillan are in the 11th round right now. Godwin is, to me, untouchable in the 6th. And then Evans
Yeah.
is 312, which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if Godwin starts off slow, I would certainly have even more confidence in Evans
How are you?
while the other guys get it figured out.
So let's say even cost holds for Jalen McMillan and Egbuka. Which direction do you prefer to go?
if even Egbuka, because
Okay.
I just think the skill set
Could be a boat.
Yeah, it could be a boat.
I wasn't.
It could be a boat.
That's how I am, but I wasn't sure if you guys were.
No, I mean it's
were
fair.
willing to sacrifice the 8 touchdowns.
I would be fine with either of them where they're going, but if I had to pick one, it would be Egbuka.
All right.
I mean, he's a better prospect. He's a better wide receiver. He's a first-round pick for a reason, and and he's from Ohio State. You bet on those
Yep.
guys.
So it was a secondary procedure. The team says that it's not a surprise to them. That's what was reported. Not a surprise to them, and that he's doing well. So there you go. Terry McLaurin officially did not report to training camp. This is what we've been talking about. It is still a back and forth between Terry McLaurin and the team, much like Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson, and we'll see. Darren Waller starting on the PUP. This is called coming out of retirement. It's a little PUP, get the body warmed up, I
Yep.
guess.
Yeah.
Um,
It's OLD. is
okay.
the problem.
Yeah. PUP for old.
Yeah.
Wait, how old is Darren Waller, by the way?
I think he's
Is he-
33.
Is he
34.
older or younger than Adam Thielen? That's what I'd like to know.
He will be 33 this season, so he is younger than old man.
All right. Joe Mixon is starting on the NFI, so not the PUP. This is the non-football injury list. He was in a boot this spring. The team has come out and said that he should be back out at training camp soon.
I saw more positive things about it, but
I don't want to I don't want it to overemphasize or underemphasize it. I also don't want to, an isolated high ankle sprain in week 2 of the season to somehow just make me like gun shy on Joe Mixon now if it's unrelated to that injury. But, you just don't want to see players in their the last couple years of potential production to be hurt already.
Yeah, and, this is one of those, I haven't heard of, a procedure that was done. We were talking about him being in a boot, back whatever it was a month or two ago, and it certainly seemed like the way that was being reported was nothing. It was don't worry about it. He's got some soreness, so he's in a boot. But now we're in training camp months later, and if he's not ready to play, it's like, okay, there's something lingering here. So it does give me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies. I went in the Ultimate Draft Kit. I upped his risk rating because I think he carries a little bit more risk.
Aaron Wilson of the Texans Insider said that Joe Mixon, his quote, is, quote, doing great after injuring his right ankle earlier in the offseason. So he's been able to ramp up his workouts. He's not off the pup yet. So we'll see.
And just to confirm it, Nick Chubb was the next man up.
Yeah, and a lot of people speculating if they knew that Mixon was banged up, was that why they signed Chubb? Damian Pierce hanging on for dear life.
And Woody Marks, right?
Zach Moss still is on the NFI list for the Bengals. There's been a lot of positive Chase Brown news related to their offensive.
There has.
Offensive coordinator said some big things about Chase Brown.
He said the thing that you don't want to overreact to news.
I need him to shut up.
Yeah, I know. Normally, you're loving his draft
I want
value.
the OC to do this normally. Now I'm like, ooh.
But what he said was take it easy. He talked about people are going to know him. Yeah. He's going to be a superstar, whatever. But he said he can do everything Austin Eckler did.
Yeah.
And the reason that we love Chase is because what you saw during the second half of last year with Joe Burrow and with this offense and when they were winning games trying to make the playoffs was an outstanding amount of passing work to Chase Brown, a la Austin Eckler. And what made him the running back 1 in fantasy one season is 100 targets his way.
I'll go as far as to say, my confidence level with Chase Brown and Davante, who are lower draft picks than Gibbs, right? Or maybe a Henry.
Sure.
If I was a team, if you're in a keeper league, you got low draft capital, I would be willing to trade Gibbs to go get Chase Brown and something. I'd be willing to trade an upper echelon player.
I feel like someone's being pitched right now.
No, they're not. Because look, honestly, I would have rather not said that because he's talking about my horrible draft spot in League of Record with Gibbs. But the same goes for Achane. I think that's one of the things. I do it in Dynasty all the time. It's if there is a player in the Chase Brown tier, which is lower, he's a lower tier than the Gibbs, than Henry, than some of the other running backs, Jacobs even. I think Jacobs is going ahead of Chase Brown in all drafts.
Yes.
So it's if I could go trade Jacobs off of that huge touchdown year, and I could get Chase Brown in a pick. That's the kind of home run trade that I'm looking for. I want players never finish in the same order as the year before. You need to go make a bet on tier jumps, and I think Chase Brown, Davante are two players that I would target that maybe aren't viewed like the upper echelon.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think Davante is viewed pretty upper tier right now. I think he's the 5th running back off the board, but Chase
he's not
Brown,
in Gibbs tier, right?
No. He's not in Gibbs tier. But Chase Brown is not even. Chase Brown's going behind Kyron, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving. I think he's a great value. So
you probably
keep him there.
Bucky Irving.
Yeah, enough.
I agree. Yeah, let's move on.
I would trade Bucky for Chase Brown.
Chase Brown sucks.
Just get that quote and send it to your league mates.
Send it to your league mates and keep his ADP low.
49ers injury section of our news. John Jennings.
Go trade Breece Hall for him.
John Jennings is on the field. Brandon Ayuk not anywhere close to having a concrete timeline. Ricky Pearsall to be elevated off the PUP list within the first few days of camp.
Crossed.
Jacob Cowing, wide receiver, now suffered a hamstring injury running routes. and the Niners had to sign Equanimous St. Brown. So I don't know what the turf is doing there, man. Like, I know
It's
Mike
been doing it for years.
Nobody on this planet loves Christian McCaffrey more than Mike Wright this year.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of them, because the 49ers and their injuries, man, we start every year going, how in the world would Garindo become a relevant fantasy player? That was last year. Garindo was 4th on the depth chart last year. 4th. The 49ers, man, that training staff has got them doing some weird stuff. I don't know what's going on. Matthew Stafford limited to start camp with back soreness. Jason shook his head.
No, it's real bad news. They said he'll be fine for the season, but I mean, you're talking the season's pretty far away, and he's old, and he's dealt with neck issues and back soreness.
I think they manage reps with him.
I mean, I hope so. But you've got new players here. You got Davante Adams that you want to come in and have a good rapport with Matthew Stafford. So I don't know. When they're that old and they're this close to retirement, it just makes me worry a little bit.
They do have, for if it gives you any hope at all, Jay, they do have Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup.
Oh yeah,
it's not,
could be worse.
It's not the same as like multiple years ago where you're like, oh man, if Stafford goes down, this team, every fantasy piece disappears.
Yeah, but Matthew Stafford is, like for Puka's targets and the way that I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo spreads the ball around a little bit more. Stafford's like,
if Jimmy Garoppolo's the quarterback, it's devastating for those guys.
Yeah,
devastating. They drop tears for sure.
Yeah, they won't.
Did you
remember
they won't disappear Jimmy Garoppolo
and go to nothing,
had the opportunity to fail to get the ball to Davante Adams for weeks and weeks at a time, and it was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen on film, where Adams was beating guys down the sideline time after time after time, and Garoppolo couldn't hit him.
Oh man, I was like,
do you remember that?
I was in my head. I'm like, what team are we talking? Oh yeah,
yeah. No, that was supposed to be the great combo.
Yeah,
and Garoppolo couldn't get it to him. It would be bad. Stephon Diggs, not feeling any limitations from the ACL tear, not on the pup, and he's going to play. Okay. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Which is great for Drake May. I forgot Kyron Williams, the last news on his contract, he says he anticipates it getting done, does not have a timeline. He will practice during training camp and get ready for week 1, even if he has not signed that extension.
Don't say that part out loud, Kyron.
He's trying to be a good man.
Yeah, but it's not out loud.
Speaking of good men, Jimmy Grandpa has retired after 13 seasons. And
Jimmy Graham.
I believe he had more touchdowns for the New Orleans Saints in the last couple of years than, was it Chris Olave?
Probably.
I mean, sometimes I think I've thought Jimmy Graham was retired for years now.
If you are newer to fantasy sports and you only know him as Jimmy Grandpa, go watch some Saints highlights of the years. Like, we had 2 years where he was like 1,200 yards and double-digit touchdowns. I mean, these were electric times. Jimmy Graham was awesome.
Yeah, he was a game changer. He was a fantasy football wrecker.
He was a superstar.
Yeah, it was always him and Gronk. Last piece of news that's I don't see in here. No, Brian Daboll just came out and officially announced that Russell Wilson is the starter. So that there's no confusion there on the depth chart.
For now.
Yes.
Yeah, mid-season.
We saw those
all
first 4
off.
games. Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with our final divisional breakdown, the NFC West.
Let's get divisional.
Well, we'll get to talk about Matthew Stafford and the Rams a little bit more. Talk about McCaffrey and the 49ers a little bit more. Our Cardinals and what they have in store for us for fantasy football, and the Seahawks, after a 10-7 season, just narrowly missing out to the Rams in the tiebreaker for the division. We're looking at rookies. We're looking at head coaching, offensive coordinator changes, player changes, ways the offenses may be shifting in 2025, and we'll give our takes on the win totals that Vegas has for these teams and the big fantasy implications for each of them as we round out the NFC here with our final divisional breakdown episode. So, the Rams won the division with a negative 19-point differential. scoring-wise.
Should be ashamed of yourself.
That is the lowest ever for a division winner that had 10 wins. Their projected win total last year was 8.5. They won 10. They started 1-4. It seemed like it was going the wrong direction. They ended up 9-3. That is kind of the Matthew Stafford experience. When he gets cooking and he's got the receivers that are healthy and available, it is still just a difficult offense to stop. And
they were definitely a team people did not want to face in the playoffs.
No, and they were 9-5 in one-score games. This year, that win total is bumped up to 9.5. Middle of the pack schedule in terms of difficulty. And, never doubt Sean McVay. Never doubt that offense with Matthew Stafford. It is a team where that health of Stafford is as the team's going to go with Stafford. I know that Garoppolo is a better backup. He certainly is. But we would all be crying if we had Puka Nacua or Davante Adams
not
or
saying
Kyren
that
Williams.
It's a big difference, but
so no more Cooper Kupp. No more Demarcus Robinson. We add Davante Adams. And we still got Kyren. We still got Puka. We got a second-round tight end rookie in Terrence Ferguson, which I'm a big fan.
Me too.
Of.
Me too.
They drafted a fourth-round running back as well. Last year's market share was dominated by the wide receiver position. Number 1 in the league in terms of targets broken down more to the wide receiver than to the running back. Kyren did not catch a lot of passes. The running back room did not catch a lot of passes. The tight ends didn't catch a lot of passes. Higbee had been hurt.
Yeah, they
came back very late.
Mm-hmm. They brought Parkinson in, but he the big money, but he never turned into a pass-catching threat for them. Tyler Higbee, though, we talked about this in the office, guys. You like Terrence Ferguson, the rookie. I'm like, Tyler Higbee is back though, and then I went and looked, and the first 2 games are absolute nothingness. So it was Tyler Higbee just came back from a devastating a knee injury, but then the final week of the season, here he is, 5 for 46 with a score. Then you go look at the playoff run, 5 for 58, 7 for 54 and a score. It was like, should we be just like, should you throw Tyler Higbee away for Terrence Ferguson?
I would do that for it might be a boat argument, because Higbee is on the last year of a deal as well. So I do think they're planning for the future. I would give it a shot, but it's not that Higbee won't be relevant, and definitely could be. I think there's 2 outcomes. Higbee is a player that takes the majority of the snaps and is their tight end.
And is irrelevant.
And you don't want him for fantasy, so he's irrelevant. Or Ferguson breaks out and is possibly a little bit relevant.
That's exactly how I see it. And those numbers about Higbee, 7 targets in the playoffs, that says to me that this is a team that really wanted a tight end, but their tight end was injured all season. And then it was like, oh, good, we can go to this position. And then they go into the draft. And if you watch, I was showing you the draft day videos before they drafted him, like going into day 2, saying like, this is their target. This is the guy they don't want to miss, that McVay was talking about. I have a plan for him. Like he can see how he's going to get Ferguson involved. So
he's got draft capital and he has the athletic profile. Like he was the guy that, when we were doing our spreadsheet battling of looking at prospects just through actual data, it's like he really did stand out.
So, it could be a final year for Stafford and McVay. We never know. McVay's threatened to leave many times, and Stafford is the second oldest starting quarterback in football. But while they're there, there's a lot of value to be had, and it starts with the wide receivers. Jason, tell me why Davante Adams in a 2-year, $46 million contract is not going to play out like Allen Robinson once did going to the Rams.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's funny because that is always the fear now, is like the scouting profile.
Let me remember how big that contract was.
It was pretty large, but I think why it's not going to work out that poorly is because of the film of the end of last year. Davante Adams was crisp, was awesome, was working well, was good for fantasy, and at the same time, Cooper Kupp disappeared. He vanished. He poofed. His every metric went down. His efficiency went down. His targets, and it was like the team went out and said, "Man, I really wish we had old Cooper Kupp." Well, why don't we just basically trade Cooper Kupp for Davante Adams? It wasn't a trade like that, but they swapped in Davante Adams. So I think the opportunity, the need for the role, because of the the beginning part of the year, Puka was great with Cooper Kupp, who was great. So I think film of last year is what allows us to not just be afraid of Allen Robinson.
Allen
also-
Robinson's deal was 3 years and $46 million.
It's also
Why did you sign
Actual
Adams to a $46 million
production,
contract? You should have changed that number.
look at like Davante Adams, really solid production last year. The Allen Robinson was coming off of 12 games played, 38 receptions for 410 yards.
Exactly.
And the Rams were like, yeah. And they tricked us all.
Just remember that the Rams did that.
Oh.
And the other people are dumb too.
I remember having that Chicago year of Allen Robinson and be like, I will never trust this man again. And the Rams eventually even beat me down. I'm like, okay.
So
they keep saying he's good.
It is a perfect example of this time of year's highlight videos from training camp, because Allen Robinson had he was all the rave of these one-on-ones and go up and grab that ball with one hand.
the gap in draft cost between Puka Nacua, the 109, and Davante Adams at 404. It's always interesting to look at the wide receiver 1 and 1A, 1B situations and what the gap is, whether it was Thielen and Diggs from years ago, Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, Higgins and Chase, Waddle and Tyreek. I mean, we've had so many of these. That's a pretty big difference. Davante Adams is, I think we all agree, going to be a huge red zone threat. Like if I had to bet which of those two guys scores more touchdowns this year, I probably put my money slightly on the Adams side.
I would as well.
So 109, 404.
Totally worth it.
What you give
both.
up at 109, what you give up at 404. Is there a world where, like, you probably don't want both of these guys?
Not on the same team, but I'm fine taking either one. Both will be great. Both will be good. If Matthew Stafford is healthy, Puka is a great pick in the first round. He is not valued like some of these.
I mean, he's a wide receiver 5 off the board.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's totally worth it. He got injured last year.
Can he be wide receiver 1, Andy?
Great question.
Puka?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
You got to start there with the.
Easily.
Okay.
Easily.
This is a guy.
Your wide receiver 1, of course. Yeah, Puka is your wide receiver 1.
When he came back from injury, because he started last season injured, including a game where he got banged up, played 30% of the snaps, he was on pace for 170 targets, 124 receptions, 1,600 yards. Now, the touchdowns have never been there for him, but that's the stat that you look at all the greats at the end of their career, and some guys had usually 4, 5, 6 touchdowns, and then they've got a 13
His
season.
His story is unfortunately not always projection based. It's also injuries that people had to deal with last year, and he's been injured historically going back to college and high school. So that's part of the equation with him. I'm just saying, like, do you like the value on Adams enough in the 4th where that would, do you go a Nico Collins at 109 if you were in that spot so you can so you feel free? That's the question.
Sure. Yeah.
So you don't box yourself into both Rams on the back of a back.
I think it's a worthy question, and in order to answer that, what you really need to do is you need to say, well, who would you be taking instead of Puka, which Nico or Malik Neighbors or someone? Would you rather have them? And then, but also, who would you be taking instead of Davante Adams? Where he's going around Mike Evans, Marvin Harrison, Rushy Rice, which obviously we'll see. He'll fall when the suspension comes in. So you just say which combination would you prefer, Davante Adams and Malik Neighbors, or Mike Evans and Puka,
or Marvin? Puka.
I'd the first one you said.
You'd rather the Davante Adams side?
Nico?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think fantasy players will love to see Puka go out there and play a full season. I think they'd love to see what Stafford can do with these two weapons. It's nobody ever talks about Stafford as a fantasy option, but he should be a streaming option if he has these players.
But man, it's been
Kyron. He's the touchdown machine around the goal line for basically 2 years, and that's really sacrificed Stafford. He throws the yards, but the touchdowns.
He can throw those yards. He picks them up off the ground and grabs
them
by a yard and chucks it.
The example is, so you had a run here of a month where he's a quarterback 6, 8, 22, 7, and then if you're like, okay, let's go, Matthew Stafford, take me through the fantasy playoffs. 8.2 points, 6, 9.2. That in full games played. Like that is something that can happen. So you better be streaming in the perfect situation.
The big story with Kyren, to me, it just comes down to lack of efficiency and effectiveness in the passing game and how that separates him tier-wise from some of the other guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
And explosive plays. Like he's kind of like, he's more like Derrick Henry than he is, Gibbs and Achane. Achane, obviously. 182 yards on 34 catches.
Yeah, PU.
And not a lot of explosive runs, but a touchdown machine. 12 in 2023, 14 in 2024. Ends as the RB6 in both of those years. Are you happy with Kyren as your running back one?
I like Kyren quite a bit. I mean, this is going
That's
into.
not my question.
Am I happy with him as my RB1?
Ish, because he's on the fringe for me.
I don't think I'm thrilled.
What
to
running
have
back
him.
is he being drafted as? Running back 11? I have him at 10 right now.
I still like where he's being drafted, but I like when he's my running back too, and I get another running back.
Because he does feel like just a really high upside RB2.
Yeah,
like you don't necessarily win a week with Kyren very often, but he doesn't lose weeks for you.
No, he's pretty darn consistent. I mean, our metrics, he's an A in consistency over his last 17 games. I think a little bit too much has been made of the lack of efficiency and breakaway runs last year. Like 2 years ago, he had it. And it's not like he's some old back that's just trending down. I think the truth is probably between those 2 seasons. And, his utilization around the goal line is exceptional. I mean, literally a dominator. He led the NFL in red zone touches with 79, the percentage of teams' rush attempts inside the red zone, 74%, rushing touchdowns inside the 5 with 14. Like, that's their game plan, and it works.
Nice opening season schedule. They do play at home against Houston in week 1, then they go to Tennessee. They got to go travel to Philly in week 3, but then back home against Indianapolis in week 4. That seems like a 2-2, 3-1 type of start to me.
Well, it'd be better than last year.
Favored by 3 in week 1. All right, we got to talk about Seattle. I don't know what to think about this team.
That is very fair.
They were 10-7,
but a really strange 10-7. Like, I'm sure you guys remember it being weird last year.
Well,
like
they started
Seahawks.
Undefeated, I think.
3-0,
4-0.
Here's their record. At home, this team was 3-6.
Okay.
On the road, they were 7-1. Like that. That's weird. In the NFL, that's weird, man.
Yeah.
It's very weird, and they also no longer have their quarterback. I mean, this was an off-season overhaul.
They've got their quarterback.
They've
got the guy they wanted.
They also, I think the weirdest thing is to have a new offensive coordinator win 10 games, and then be like, I don't want you.
It didn't end well. They lost out on the playoff spot, and they did. I don't agree with the statement that they got their quarterback. I think they got a quarterback that they didn't want, but they had to sell that they wanted because they wanted Geno. They made offers to Geno Smith. Geno Smith did not want to stay, and then they came out and then they said, "What's the best thing left?" And let's make a good story around Sam Darnold. And that's not to say Sam Darnold can't have equal success in this offense, if not better. It's very possible. Darnold was impressive last year. However, I'm not sure this was the plan. I'm not sure they went into the offseason saying, let's get rid of Geno and get Sam Darnold.
I completely agree. And, Sam Darnold, this is going to be one of those situations where we find out what the truth is. Because last year, Sam Darnold was a very good quarterback, but he was set up for success with a phenomenal head coach, an offensive-minded head coach, a good offensive line, the best wide receiver in the game. Then eventually you get Hawkinson, you had Addison. It was really, really set up for success. Now he goes to one of the worst offensive lines in the league, and that's always been like Darnold's, seeing ghosts.
Yeah, Geno had 50 sacks. He was sacked 50 times. They're ranked 30th by PFF to go into the year to the offensive line point you made. And then you look at their offense and you almost took out all the major pieces and got rid of them. Like other than JSN staying there, your pass catchers, Lockett, Metcalf, even Noah Fant, who's now been released, and then your quarterback in Geno Smith and Clint Kubiak's your offensive coordinator now. So, you got that defensive-minded head coach, but you add Cooper Kupp and MVS. Those are downgrades from DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, that combination. You had Sam Darnold, debatable. You draft a really good tight end in the second round in Arroyo out of Miami. You draft Jalen Milroe, who knows? The contract for Sam Darnold is such that if it doesn't work out in a very tough division, like I don't know where you guys have Seattle in this division.
I'll tell you at the end of the show.
And we'll give you our rankings. But if it doesn't work out in a tough division, Milroe could be the future next year.
He could, and I think he could work too. Like for a later drafted quarterback, that's not usually the honestly even like a second round pick at quarterback is just a death knell usually. But I think Jalen Milroe has an opportunity to be very good for both the NFL but also for fantasy, because if he starts and is bad in the NFL, he will still be good for fantasy. He's a monster rushing mobile quarterback.
So for a team that were better on defense than they were on offense last year, that probably wants to win with defense going into this year, is the running game going to be more of a priority?
100. This is why they got rid of Ryan Grubb. Yeah. This is why they went from Grubb to Cubes. They went out and got Cubes in the
old Grubb to Cubes.
The Kubiak running system that has proven so effective in the NFL. This is the year for Kenneth Walker. I think that this team wants the offense to run through Kenneth Walker.
When he says the year, he means his last chance.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if Kenneth Walker
he's good
plays 17 games, I think he'll be one of the best picks in fantasy football. He's the guy that I'm most confident about on this team.
I didn't say it.
But the first,
pretty sure I've said it before.
But the first part of that,
yeah,
is terrifying.
Mike cannot victory lap a projection.
No, I can just be excited that I'm not
alone.
The only one.
You're the only one, though, I think, that's willing to take that risk. I don't know that I'm picking Kenneth Walker because.
So
I don't know that he's going to be on the field, especially if they're saying
there have been a. I'll say this.
Don't you buck me into picking Kenneth Walker? Don't you do it?
No, he's Brocking you into Brock Bowers. No, look, Kenneth Walker is one of those guys, the tantalizing, per play, exciting letdowns.
Well,
that's
like
what he's been.
Number one enforced missed tackle rate. His yards have to come after contact.
Get to his efficiency. Get to his, that's what I'm saying. There have been a lot of, I'm not talking about Kenneth Walker specifically. There have been a lot of players in this category where CJ Spiller or certain players that you watch on a per touch singular highlight, like Ken Walker's highlights stand up against everybody in the league.
Yeah.
They will whoop everybody. But you also could draft him and he's the running back 38. Or 28. Like he's got a range of outcomes that is not the same as players drafted in his category.
I've seen some plays from Kenneth Walker that are superhuman, unbelievable runs for 1 yard. Like because the offensive line is so bad that he's like doing judo moves back behind the line,
this is a
throwing
bad
guys
O-line.
off of him. Yeah,
it's not a good
the
O-line.
O-line is still trash. I think Sam Darnold is going to struggle with it. And then if they're going to give him a ton of work, I do think that the scheme will be better. The offensive line scheme will be better. It'll be better for Kenneth Walker as well. So there's some good rays of sunshine for this running game because of a good defense and a desire to do it and a great scheme.
He better not be your RB1.
I think so. I think he certainly can't be your RB1 because he's not reliable. And he's being drafted as the running back 15. Behind this offensive line and an offense that I don't think is going to be a top half offense, the scoring opportunities probably won't be, a double-digit scoring guy. And in which case, I'm looking at what's his ceiling. Is he going to be better than running back 15 if he plays a whole season? Yeah.
Yeah, he will. He will. And I'll say this to the positive for Kenneth Walker. Like you have to find players like this that have warts but talent.
Yeah.
Those are the potential breakouts.
Ignore my warts.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise they're already drafted too high.
Don't look at them.
I mean, right? They're already drafted too high.
It is the perfect Mike Wright type of pick because, and I
love warts.
No. I say that as a compliment.
Oh, thank you.
You
in the sense
you
that,
can ignore warts better than most.
So here's what's funny is we talk.
Your wife must be littered
I look
with
on
warts.
the inside, man. That's where beauty is. You superficial.
Don't look on the
freaks.
outside. That's where all the bandages are.
Actually, all of his injuries are internal as well.
Oh gosh.
I think a lot of, I think almost all of us talk about like, well, we're playing to win.
Yep.
You know, you're not playing for second place.
He's a play-to-win pick.
He is 100%. He is. I'm not scared. I want to get the guy that's going to win.
He's a
my
play
league.
to win or not play, and you
And
lose.
I'm not sure that I actually follow that actual advice of I play for first or I don't give a crap. Because Ken Walker is a
there's other
first or I
picks
don't
in
give
that
a
round
crap.
that are.
I'll take
that
Ken
type of
Walker in the
pick.
5th round. Andy Holloway, who has never said a
Okay.
nice word, I will take him in the 5th.
408.
If he gets to the 5th round,
it's
he'll be on my
possible.
team. I think it's worth it.
I feel like, Mike, you are like either in the running for a championship or destroyed.
Oh yeah, or
Yeah.
your last place.
You're last. You are
Yes.
Ricky Bobby, man.
Yeah.
You're first or last.
Yeah. I mean, look, everybody plays differently. But if I'm running CMC and Ken Walker out as my 1-2, I am.
You are LIVIN,
I am
brother.
freaking sending anonymous donations to those medical staffs.
Yeah, Andy has too high of an anxiety to play that style.
I can't. I don't want to double up, man. JSN. New running mates. Cooper Kupp. You just talked about the offensive line. You talked about the running game. Got Sam Darnold at quarterback, but he is the only show in town. He's the 2nd round pick right now in fantasy, wide receiver 12 off the board. I don't think that price. Here's how I feel about JSN. You tell me your opinion on his draft cost. I don't think it's an inappropriate cost. I don't think wide receiver 12 at 211 is wrong. But based on everything else that's ever been there, I never take him. Like I don't think
You're
it's
saying the other players
yeah,
available.
I don't think it's inappropriate relative to the other wideouts. I just don't ever take him there.
I kind of concur. He was the wide receiver 10 last year in his sophomore season, so he had that official breakout, and it happened in the second half of last year where he dominated. There is a quarterback change, but also you lost DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. You go into this season, like you went into last season, JSN, still being the wide receiver 3 in his sophomore year. You're going into this training camp as he's alpha dog number 1. So you're getting a wide receiver 1 who was a top 10 wide receiver last year, going into year 3, young, Studley. You're drafting him as the wide receiver 12. That all sounds good on paper, but as we go through this process, I realize like I'm into Rams players and I'm not into Seahawks players.
Okay.
I think that this offense is going to take a major step back with the offensive line being bad, Darnold there, a changeover, and a desire for more slow it down, win with defense play style. So, where JSN is being drafted, I would rather have T. Higgins, who's going several spots behind him. But the other running backs, Josh Jacobs is there, Jonathan
I think that's
Taylor,
what ends up happening is the running backs.
or Trey McBride.
I'll bring it up again. I've looked back historically on the wideouts that break out in year 2, and it's not that they can't work. It's just that historically it seems like we steam them up a little bit too much. I mean, like he's being drafted as the wide receiver 12 with a lot of variables changing around him. So that part of the draft bet kind of freaks me out. And then what does this team actually do? What is their plan of JSN was their slot guy? Like he's an 80% type of a slot player. Cooper Kupp, that's where Cooper Kupp had those incredible seasons, 65%. That's how much Cooper Kupp has generally been running in the slot. What do they do here when those two guys? I mean, these should be the two featured wide receivers, but they both kind of operate
Their
in the
biggest
same
success has happened
at the same
in that
area of the field.
Yeah,
so
that's a question.
Like, what is this? I would assume you bring in Cooper Kupp, you have some sort of plan for that, but it's still troubling to have to pay a wide receiver 12 price for that. Like, what?
I do think there's an opportunity.
What if they try to put him outside? I
think there's a chance for Arroyo or Barner to make an impact on this offense just because
They're tight ends, one rookie, one second
yeah, they're
year.
tight ends just because of the kind of what seems to be isolation of Cooper Kupp and JSN. Like you look at their depth chart, MVS, Torrey Horton, and Jake Bobo.
was that almost a
P90X? I almost threw a P90
Tony Horton.
Tony Horton. Oh, I feel it's been so long. I'm trying to remember some of his. What's some of his go-to phrases?
Oh gosh, I know them.
You got any back there, Al? Were you ever a P90X, bro?
Oh, well, you can use the microphone though. How about that? Oh, your microphone broken?
It broke when I hit the panic alarm.
Thank you, Kyle.
So Josh broke it.
Do your best, forget the rest. Thank you, Kyle. That's
do your
clutch.
best. That's it.
Oops,
all right.
I think I ripped my pants.
Yeah, that's
That's the one I remember.
We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk about the last two teams. All right, Arizona, 8-9 last year, and that was above their win total. They were projected for 7 last year. They're the only team over the last 8 years to do all of the following: win 8 games, lead their division in scoring differential. So the Cardinals had the highest scoring differential, yet somehow finished 3rd place. That's
the scoring differential got kind of bumped by a couple shellackings.
I believe
Like
the Rams were one of the shellackings.
Yes, the Marvin Harrison game.
the Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, singular.
So look, they had a really difficult opening schedule last year. So the truth of the Cardinals and what they are, Marvin was a rookie. Their defense was kind of figuring things out. They started 6 of their first 7 games last year against playoff teams. They were also 3-5 in one-score games. This year, they have the 11th easiest schedule, and their win total is up at 8.5. So, who was the team that was at 7.5 that I was shocked about on the last episode? Do you remember who that was? The Cowboys. So yeah, their projected win total 8.5. Yeah, it was the Cowboys at 7.5, and it was the Patriots that are up at 8.5.
Yeah,
this year
Patriots
as
are
well.
very high. Yeah.
The Cardinals are favored in 5 of their first 6 games going into the year, so that's going to be part of the picture. You always want to take players, like if it's a big, overwhelming differential. Like if you're splitting hairs on, somebody from the Cardinals or somebody on the Browns, and you look at those opening season schedules, I'd like them to be in plus matchups most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Judkins is kind of a question mark now, but maybe that question would have been Connor or Judkins at one point in time, and then you're looking at those schedules saying, wow, they get to go play New Orleans, then Carolina, then San Francisco, then Seattle, where they're favored, and then Tennessee, and then Indianapolis.
James Conner is yet again super undervalued.
Yeah, he's entered the point where he will perennially and always be until he's done.
And he's the perfect type of player with that schedule. I mean, it's not necessarily great for the passing game if you're up, but the running game is great. And then at his age, it's like draft him, get some juice out of it, have him be great, and then trade him for value.
He's just to look at the numbers. I mean, he was really, really good last year. He was the RB10, and he missed a game due to injury.
He's been very good in Arizona. And I know a couple years missing, 4 games or so, but that is part of the experience. But I feel confident enough to find a replacement for a game here or there.
Who was number 1 in forced missed tackle rate? Was that Kenneth Walker?
That was Ken Bone Walker.
And number 2 is James Conner.
If you're not watching Cardinals games from last year, or you weren't, I should say, incredible work by you, because it was frequently very painful to watch. But the bright spot of, Trey McBride, of course, but James Conner, he's old and it doesn't make sense, but he looks so good.
Well, look at 100-yard games he had for Arizona. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 100-yard games, 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Knows for the end zone, can catch the football. 47 receptions for 400+ yards. I think it was Kyron was like 40 for 180 yards.
Connor overproduced a bit last year.
Yeah, so it's just about the price for Connor being so discounted. He's in the late 5th round, the RB20.
Let's say, okay, I'm going to put
I knew what you're going to do.
You're at the 505.
Yeah, I know what you're going to do.
You're at the 505, and Ken Walker is there, but so is James Conner.
Oh, baby.
I mean, I told you.
So Walker value is there. You're taking James Conner a couple spots over ADP. And I guess they both averaged.
If I want upside, I'm going to take Kenneth Walker.
Okay.
And if I want to know that I'm getting really reliable numbers every week, I'm going to take James Conner and they can both get hurt. They can both get hurt.
So which do you want? In a vacuum.
In a vacuum? With no other context?
No other context. Just who's better?
I'm really just trying to drag this out. James Conner. James Conner, yeah.
I do expect Trey Benson to get on the field a bit more this year. While we were already disappointed,
better be better on the field when he gets out there.
Well, the disappointment, I think, by the draft community and dynasty Twitter, I think that our disappointment did not match what the Arizona Cardinals felt. I mean, he was 4.6 a carry.
Let me give you two big questions for the Cardinals.
Okay.
Number one, will Kyler Murray be a locked-in every week fantasy starter?
I think he will be, yeah.
Okay, I would probably lean on the yes side, which, again, don't hear what us Phoenicians are not saying. That doesn't mean he's going to be the best quarterback, but he's proven that he can finish, in the top 10 4 times in 6 years. And I think there's a lot to like about the offense.
Yeah, and also there were some quotes, and this is great because it wasn't coming from a coach or a beat reporter. This was coming from Kyler Murray's mouth when he was being interviewed, talking about how he was watching Lamar Jackson, and he realized how valuable the running of Lamar Jackson is.
I want that
for the running game. I mean, you saw what Derrick Henry did with stacked boxes because they had the threat of Lamar Jackson, and so he was talking about how he really needs to add the more to his running game, and that is a beautiful thing. That is how his fantasy goodness will happen, and I agree. This is not saying he's going to be a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I'll believe that one when I see it on the field after 6 years.
But I don't think he's going to be all the way down in the streaming category.
Okay.
So,
Mike, are you fine with him as an every week starter? You get him late, you feel like you can lock him in?
I think so. There's probably other guys I'd rather take a chance on. But will this surprise you to know, Jason? That was the second highest rushing yardage total of Kyler Murray's career last year.
Yeah, that surprises me. That does.
I think it surprised me when I realized they had gone 8 and 9. Because I think we had been there were so many games where the Cardinals, the storyline of the Cardinals, for those that watched intently, which is us and thankfully not you, was that the Cardinals were Jekyll and Hyde. There were games like the Rams game, the Bears game, where they were a dominant football team that was, blowing people out. And then there were games where Kyler Murray would begin the game looking like
backup quarterback.
Yeah, like he's throwing with the wrong hand. And he would end the game looking that way.
He never overcame anything.
He didn't really change. So it made him very frustrating to deal with. He is a very talented passer that gets hot and gets cold, and that's a complication. So right now he's the QB 10 off the board in the 8th round. You don't have to pay a lot for him. If you buy into the season, that's fine.
Do you like Marv's?
That's
ADP?
the last question is do you buy into him as a value now when he sits in the late 3rd, early 4th, wide receiver 17, outside that top 12 expectation? For me, I am in on that, but I don't blame people for being frustrated.
I'm in on that. I think the biggest question, like if we had one question that we could get the answer to for sure before the season that would tell us the fantasy football pecking order here, is who is the number 1 target on this team? Does Marvin Harrison Jr. become the number 1 target over Trey McBride? Or is Marvin Harrison Jr. the number 2 target behind Trey McBride? That's real, because if it's still McBride as the 1, which last year, I mean, it was target-wise, Trey McBride is the number 1 wide receiver for this team at the tight end spot, and Marv trailed way behind him, but he was a rookie. Does that flip?
No, it doesn't flip. No, I mean, I think that would be a crazy expectation.
You still think that Trey McBride has more targets than Marv?
I care less about 1-2 as much as the gap between 1-2. It was extreme last year, and Marv needs to be a regular target monster in the passing game, not this guy that sometimes works down the field to get Trey McBride open. Like, I think McBride will have more targets.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I think that Marvin Harrison can progress enough, and he's put on a lot of weight, and the Cardinals don't have a lot of other weapons. Like they have high expectations. I mean, he had, despite all the disappointment for fantasy, he was one of 6 rookie wide receivers in the last decade to be up over 880 yards and 8 touchdowns. It just came too infrequently.
Yeah, it all happened against the Rams.
So, but I think he can definitely deliver on a wide receiver 17 draft value if it just goes up.
I am, ADP-wise, I think I'm pretty nervous about both Marv and Trey McBride. Trey McBride's going to be a stud. He's going to be a top 3 tight end. I believe that at the end of the year. The issue with him is that George Kittle is going in the 4th. I'd rather take George Kittle in the 3rd. Like
I think I'm with
an
you now.
entire
I think I'm
round
with you now on that.
and take him and get just a different second-round pick. So that's my
very
issue with
expensive.
McBride. And Marv it might work, but he feels scary.
Last year we talked about the Rams. They had 70% of their team's market share going to wideouts. The Cardinals were at 48%, which meant the running backs got 18%, where the Rams, I think, were at 10%. And their tight ends were at 34% with Trey McBride. 48% is not going to be the number that this season ends at. And I think if McBride out targets him, but that number gets to 60%, we're going to be happy with Marv. Because I think he's one of the better bets at double-digit touchdowns
Yes, I would agree with that.
of any wideout.
Yep.
And you're sitting there. I don't know where you stand on that.
It's a really tough decision to know whether or not he's going to become a target monster or not. I mean, this is a guy who had only 116 targets last year, and he was of the wide receiver group. He was the alpha. He was drafted to be the one, and he was the one last year. Like from week 1, Arizona Cardinals knew he is our primary wide receiver, and he still only had 116 targets. So there's got to be some development there. I personally have him right about. I've got him in my top 15 wide receivers, so I'm fine taking the shot at him there. But it's scary.
The big boys are Chase 175, Neighbors at 170. CD last year, even with Dak out, 150. McBride was at 147.
Yeah, we got to get him at least in the 130s.
We've got to get. I mean, JSN 137.
See, that's
you got to get to 130, 140. The DJ Moore. Oh my gosh, Wandale had 140 disgustingly invisible.
Bro, yeah.
140 invisible targets
line
in New York.
of scrimmage, easy to target.
Oh my gosh, that's a shocker.
But your Trey McBride.
If you had asked me how many targets he had, I would have guessed 3.
I almost brought back when we were doing our Scotty Fish draft. I didn't even want to say it. I'm like, the PPR
Terry
value
McLaurin
of
was at
Wandale.
117. Now you understand, people. Like, we weren't trying to trash Terry McLaurin. He had the same target total as Marvin Harrison,
but he had 13 touchdowns, which are not sticky. So this is my contention: is that I don't think where Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. are going, I don't think both are going to be good picks. But I do think one is. So that's where I want to know.
I'm in on Marv.
Who is? So if you're in on Marv,
yeah, I think he gets to 140.
Think Trey McBride has to come down. If Marv's up at 140 targets,
McBride can come down. That's totally fine because he's going to score more. He can have the same season, but he scores 8 times and he has 128 targets. That's fine. All right, we got one more team, and we don't normally talk about them last, but we go in order of how they finished last year.
Last place losers.
Huh, Falcon?
The 49ers.
Yeah.
Oh, no 49er
Future
gear on
winners.
today.
What's that?
Future Super Bowl winners.
Did you just blab your own comment
man.
and then duck down and hide behind your laptop?
On video? Oh, keep it on this screen.
Future
Keep it
Super
here.
Bowl
Look
winners.
at that face. That
Sit in
face
your
is,
shame.
That face is
Sit
red.
in your shame.
Oh,
Well,
man.
49er
That is
fans-
a 49er face if I've ever seen one.
49er fans need not lean on that level of confidence or lack thereof.
Blech.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a
Not
lot.
even a clear throat redo it. This is a bad.
Just bet and hide.
He noped out. Oh man, legendary. They were 6-11, so that's why we're talking about them. They had an 11.5 point or 11.5 win total last year, and they won 6 games. It was rough. They lost 7 of their last 8. If you look at their history with Shanahan, they've kind of been all or nothing. They've had
They're very Mike Wright.
a 6-10. Oh yeah, this is the Mike Wright team. Oh, and it makes sense because CMC's on there. 6-10, 4-12, 6
I like
and 10.
that guy. I like
6
that
and
Shanny
11.
guy.
So 6 wins or fewer 4 different times. That is a
And then
suck team. But then,
and then they had 4 times with 10 or more.
yeah, 13 wins.
What kind of team is that?
Twice.
That's like a
That's a Super Bowl contending team. And right now they're projected to
They're the
be
favorites.
a 10.5 win team. They've got literally the easiest strength of schedule for 2025.
yeah. I mean, they start Seattle, New Orleans, Arizona, Jacksonville.
But they've also
It's set
lost
up, it's set up for them. They've lost
half their team, it
They've
feels
lost
like.
a lot of pieces. On the offensive side, Debo has been a stalwart there. He's gone. He was 16% of the targets, and no more Elijah Mitchell in the depth chart at running back. That's not that big of a deal, but they lost a lot of defensive starters. That's where, maybe there's more fantasy goodness to be had than you would expect.
The lack of a defense, which has always been dominant for the 49ers, or recently at least, and the lack of a difficult schedule. When I see those two things coming together, I shake my head and go, dude, Christian McCaffrey is going to be the number one running back.
That is, I was going to say, like, the amount of injuries they have at wide receiver right now, it's like the universe is telling me, in the face of Mike's great and grand number one overall prediction for McCaffrey, it's just they just keep taking away all the other pieces so that I have nowhere else to look. But like Kittle, who does get hurt a lot, and McCaffrey, who does get hurt a lot.
Yeah, I was telling Mike earlier today, I think Kittle's the best pick in the draft. He's just
how is
so
it not?
necessary
How is it
for
not
this
right
team.
now? How is it not? That's almost that's like, as of right now, you should pass on Bowers and you should pass on McBride.
I agree.
It's tough
and you should wait.
because there's only one of him in the third round, or the fourth round.
Yeah,
or
if
wherever.
other people have the same plan.
Exactly, and so it's like, if you pass on those two guys, you got to kind of hold your breath and just hope that he falls to you. You know what I mean? It's just kind of out of your hands.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still a risk, regardless of Kittle's presence. It's still a risk taking those tight ends that high.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes it really interesting, even though those tight ends will be good. They are favored the 49ers are favored in 15 of 17 games. So they got a fourth-placed schedule. And
that gives them games against Chicago, the Giants,
Carolina,
Cleveland Browns,
Indy, Tennessee, New Orleans, Jacksonville.
Shanny knows how to play the game, man.
Oh, you're Mr. All or Nothing. Yeah.
Just saying, like, hey, guys, we can get a fourth place schedule next year. It's not happening this year.
They have
let's
the
do
third
that.
highest team implied totals for 2025. So, if you want to kind of understand the nuance to, maybe Mike's slightly not typical view of CMC and putting him at number one, where I think what's his ADP right now? RB8 or something?
RB7 at the 206.
Yeah,
I was thinking about McCaffrey, of like, what I am going to really enjoy this year is that it's not just people who draft Christian McCaffrey who are in on watching him every week. Every running back selected in front of Christian McCaffrey this year, you will be sitting and watching. Like, if your guy gets hurt, you're going to lose your mind. Or if Christian McCaffrey doesn't get hurt, you're going to lose your mind.
It is.
Because if McCaffrey's not hurt, he's outproducing your running back. And then the same thing, if you draft McCaffrey, everyone after you're going to be like, oh, I knew it. I knew he was going to get hurt.
That's the presupposition then. The presupposition is not.
He's so fun this year.
The presupposition is that McCaffrey, when healthy, produces in your mind more on a per touch basis than any running back in football.
Yes.
And then gets more touches too.
If you presume that, if you lock that in and guarantee it, and how old is he?
28.
28.
I'll verify that.
So if you presume that, because I've seen the comments, dude. I've
29.
seen the reactions. I've seen the comments. I've seen the
just turned 29.
The vitriol and emotion that comes along with McCaffrey. There's every other comment is, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
That's where Al is. Every time we bring him up, he's like, nope, he's going to get hurt.
And he's not priced.
I won't draft him.
He's discounted for McCaffrey, but he's not priced in a place where he's not your first-round pick. And because of that, you are making the decision to take him ahead of very, very big names. So that proposition you're talking about, right? Like, you are – like, it will suck if you take a safer presumed name in Jacobs, and Jacobs plays 17 and McCaffrey plays 17, and McCaffrey will probably outpace Jacobs in that situation.
He will 100%.
Because of the pass catching. And people need to remember that about Christian McCaffrey. It is a gamble on health because it was so disruptive. It wasn't a midseason injury. It was a preseason. We thought he'd be back. Then he wasn't. Then it's a midseason injury. And you burned every part of your season.
Just willing to be wrong. Jason, I got a question about which way does this shift the paradigm? Christian McCaffrey has been working out all offseason with Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
So the man of glass versus the guy who is
oh my gosh, that works so bad for Bijan. That's what I get out of
Does
that.
it make you more worried for Bijan or more confident?
More confident
the
in
man
Christian
of steel,
McCaffrey.
the man of steel versus the man of glass.
More confident in
tremendous
Christian
work
McCaffrey.
back there.
It's probably going to be the running back 1 and running back 2 at the end of the season.
We have
I don't
been
blame
here.
a single person in the world. Andy, you're kind of not in on Christian McCaffrey.
He's at 8 for me. Yeah.
Yeah, right where he is within the running back rankings. I don't blame anyone. The entire first round. I mean, he's in the second round, so that means every single team in every single league on average bypasses Christian McCaffrey, right? That's just a fact. If he is in the second round and I'm picking, that is an auto selection for me. If I get a first round pick plus Christian McCaffrey, I'm not going to play that scared when Vegas is not scared of this team. The vacated targets, all the wide receiver question marks. We've seen the research in the past where vacated targets go not necessarily to the new incoming wide receivers, but when teams have a lot of turnover there's more passing to the running backs. And so
I just feel like we could talk in circles over this situation because
Absolutely.
It's never going to come down to a metric I can give you. Like, it is what it is.
It is.
McCaffrey.
Games played.
Yeah, okay.
That's the
yeah,
best.
I mean,
the
that's
only
it.
metric
By the
that
way,
matters.
last year was an example. Like we talked about Saquon on the NFC East show. That if you go over 350, the last 10 running backs that go over 350 opportunities,
mm-hmm.
2 of the 10, like most of them get hurt. Like a lot of them have either been hurt or lacked production to a great degree. He was another one of those. He was 355 opportunities at San Francisco and 352 the year before. And he did that. That's what happened in Carolina. He had 428 opportunities in 2019, out for the year.
Right.
355, out for the year.
How did he do when he got back?
Well, when he got back from injury, he also missed the entire season again for Carolina.
When he got back from that one.
Oh, when he missed the second time?
I mean,
this is what I'm saying.
He was
This
the
is
running
not-
back 1. I'm just saying his legs are fresh. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he's good.
Fresh legs.
I don't. If the injury was different than Achilles tendonitis, genuinely, which, look, that is not something that you can just say you've healed the rest of your life, in my opinion. This is not an ACL repair that you go and you scan. He thought he was back last year. He thought he'd be back. That's part of the storyline. He believed something about his own body last year that was not true. And so for me, that's part of the equation is as you age, the math changes. His total volume, he may be 28, which is still old for a running back. 29, still old for a running back. But his workloads, 400 plus, 350 plus, 350 plus the passing game, the wear and tear adds up. And I don't know how they're going to utilize him exactly. I don't know if this easy schedule means that they'll try to do less. I don't know. But I think I'm comfortable drafting him at ADP is all I'm saying. And there's tremendous upside.
The final thing I'll say, because
Jason's trying so hard to be fully riding your train now. I mean, this was your train, and he is now.
And that's all. If
you can
you
ride my
on the
George
train,
Kittle train, I will ride your Christian McCaffrey train.
We ride. If you want to ride,
come on, ride.
The last thing I'll say is the thing about rankings is difficult because when you have him at 1, like if you have the first overall pick, you're like, I'm going to take McCaffrey. You're going to take him over Bijan and Barkley. I have McCaffrey ranked at number 1. That's a really difficult decision to even make that happen. But that's where my projections landed him.
Yeah, I mean, he's the single hardest player to predict that I think I've ever seen in fantasy because 3 out of the last 5 years you were devastated.
And 2 of them you won the championship.
And 2 of them you won the championship. I mean, what do you do with that? What do you do with 3 times you wanted
you
to
hire
you want
a
to die?
therapist?
Yeah.
Better help.
Yeah, but
we've already talked about Kittle. The wide receiver room right now looks like Juwan Jennings has the inside track on being the most relevant fantasy wide receiver for maybe a while to start this season. Pearsall will be involved. Ayuk may not come back for a long time, may get traded. And Brock Purdy, it's hard to look at Brock Purdy without Ayuk and without Debo, who he had for a long time, and feel like Purdy is this lock to be an every week starter. He's much more of a streamer for me.
Guys,
I agree.
I like everyone on this team, and I don't like that.
Well, the values are, put it this way. George Kittle is not being drafted as the number 1 tight end.
Yeah.
Chris McCaffrey is no longer even a first-rounder. The wide receiver 1 for this team right now is in double-digit rounds. No one is being seen as a great prospect here from an average draft position standpoint, and yet they have the 3rd highest team-implied totals. Meaning, and that number means Vegas is expecting them to score the 3rd most amount of points in the NFL,
and that they'll figure it out.
Yeah. So when those
there'll
two
be value.
when those two things are both true, which they are, I'm in.
And there'll be value at wide receiver. There will be.
Yeah.
I said to everyone, the show, we're OUT on Brandon Ayuk.
Yes.
So, no.
We need to be OUT of this episode. We are.
But Jennings and Ricky Pearsall.
Give me the division.
Go ahead, Jay.
Give me the division because I'm going to take an hour with this.
Oh, man. I'm going to go Rams, Niners, Cardinals, Seahawks.
I'm going to go, whatever, I'm going to say it. Arizona, San Francisco, Rams, Seahawks.
San Francisco, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks. So we all have different projections there. So right now the odds have San Francisco slightly above the Rams. Cardinals and Seahawks are tied projection-wise for the division, and we'll see. Mailbag episode coming up, Unsolved Mysteries episode coming up, another mock draft coming up, and 5 shows a week right around the corner. So there you go. Divisional breakdown episodes are over. We did it. We got through.
Every team.
We offended nearly every fan base, and we get to talk about some other stuff moving forward and a lot more camp highlights on the way. So that is all for today's show. Matt, do you have anything you want to add?
My mic was turned off.
Also, talk louder,
Yeah, talk
you baby.
louder.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.